A cup of coffee and a new beginning. Lorraine Simpson sat alone at a small, round glass table outside Café Amour, a cozy spot tucked between the towering skyscrapers of New York City. The autumn air carried a crisp bite, and the faint scent of roasted coffee beans mingled with the exhaust of passing taxis. The café's outdoor seating area was adorned with straw chairs and vibrant chrysanthemums in delicate vases, each table meticulously arranged to exude charm. But Lorraine barely noticed the elegance around her. Her espresso, once steaming, had gone cold in its porcelain cup, mirroring the chill that had settled in her heart. Just hours earlier, Lorraine had been fired from her job as a nurse at St. Augustine's Medical Center, a few blocks away. For months, she had endured her boss, Carlton Hayes, whose arrogance and relentless demands had worn her down. He criticized her work incessantly, belittled her in front of colleagues, and dismissed her suggestions with a condescending wave of his hand. That morning, after a particularly grueling shift, Lorraine had snapped. She'd called him a jerk, among other choice words, in front of the entire staff. The satisfaction of speaking her mind was fleeting, replaced by the gut punch of his smug announcement, "You're done here, Simpson. Clean out your locker." Now, sitting in the cafe she frequented after work, Lorraine stared at the cold coffee, her mind spiraling. She'd been living paycheck to paycheck for years, her modest apartment barely covered by her nurse's salary. How would she pay her rent? Her utilities? The student loans that still loomed over her like a dark cloud. "I had no choice," she muttered to herself, trying to justify her outburst. But the regret was heavy, and the future felt like a void. A soft, hesitant voice broke through her thoughts. "Excuse me, miss. Do you mind if I have the rest of your coffee? I'm feeling a bit under the weather." Lorraine looked up, startled. Standing before her was a disheveled man, his clothes tattered and his face weathered by time and hardship. His graying beard was unkempt, and his hands trembled slightly as he gestured toward the cup. It didn't take long for Lorraine to realize he was homeless. His eyes, though, were kind, deep brown and warm, despite the chill in the air. "Oh, Lorraine blinked, caught off guard. She glanced at the coffee, then back at him. "Sure, I wasn't going to drink it anyway." She slid the cup toward him, her fingers brushing the cold porcelain. The man nodded gratefully and sat down across from her, his movements slow and deliberate, as if he didn't want to impose. "Thank you," he said, taking a sip. "It's excellent, though it'd be better hot." He offered a small, crooked smile. "I'm Jeffrey, by the way." "Lorraine Simpson," she replied, her voice softer than she intended. She wasn't sure why she felt compelled to share her name, but there was something disarming about Jeffrey's presence. He took another sip, studying her over the rim of the cup. "If you don't mind me saying, you seem troubled. I know I've got no right to pry, but if talking helps, I'm all ears." Lorraine let out a small, surprised laugh. The irony of a homeless man offering to listen to her problems wasn't lost on her. But his sincerity was undeniable, and something about his gentle tone made her feel safe. "That's really kind of you, Jeffrey," she said, her voice catching. "Honestly, I'm a mess. I just lost my job. I'm a nurse, or was, I guess. My boss was unbearable, and I lost my temper. Told him what I really thought. Now I'm jobless, and I've been scraping by for so long. I don't know how I'm going to manage." She sighed, her shoulders slumping as the weight of her words settled between them. "Getting fired feels awful, and being broke feels even worse." She glanced at Jeffrey, suddenly aware of how her complaints might sound to someone in his situation. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. You've got it tougher than I do." Jeffrey waved a hand dismissively, his expression warm. No, you didn't offend me. It's hard, what you're going through. I'm just glad you got it off your chest. Feels a bit lighter now, doesn't it?" Lorraine nodded, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Yeah, it does. Thank you." She hesitated, then stood up. "Let me get you something to eat. It's the least I can do." Despite her dwindling bank account, Lorraine ordered a tuna sandwich and 2 fresh cups of coffee from the cafe's counter. The barista, a young woman with a bright smile, handed over the items with a wink, as if she knew Lorraine needed a small act of kindness. Back at the table, Lorraine and Jeffrey ate and talked, their conversation flowing easily. Jeffrey had a dry sense of humor that caught Lorraine off guard, making her laugh for the first time that day. If I were your boss, Jeffrey said between bites, I'd show up in a limo and beg you to work for me. I'd be thrilled to have someone like you on my team. How could anyone fire you? Lorraine blushed, her cheeks warming despite the cool breeze. That's exactly what I needed to hear today, Jeffrey. Thank you. As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting long shadows across the cafe's patio, Jeffrey offered to walk Lorraine home. She agreed, grateful for the company. As they strolled through the bustling streets, Lorraine noticed Jeffrey kept a respectful distance, always a few steps behind. Curious, she slowed her pace and turned to him. Why do you keep lagging behind? Jeffrey's cheeks flushed, and he looked down at his worn shoes. Well, I'm a homeless man, Lorraine. If people see us walking together, they might assume things. I'm scruffy, filthy. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Lorraine's heart ached at his words. She stopped walking and reached for his hand, her grip firm but gentle. I don't care what anyone thinks, Jeffrey. You're a kind-hearted man who listened to me when I needed it most. Your appearance doesn't matter to me, and it shouldn't matter to anyone else. You deserve respect. Jeffrey's eyes glistened, and he nodded, unable to speak. They continued walking, hand in hand, through the crowded streets, ignoring the occasional curious glance. When they reached Lorraine's modest apartment building, she hesitated at the door. Jeffrey, why don't you stay the night? I have a guest room. It's no trouble. He shook his head, his smile soft but firm. You're too kind, Lorraine, but I'll be fine. Thank you for everything. With a final wave, he disappeared into the evening, leaving Lorraine with a mix of gratitude and guilt. She hadn't asked about his struggles, too caught up in her own. I hope we meet again, Jeffrey, she whispered as she closed the door. That night, alone in her apartment, Lorraine's fears crept back. The reality of her situation, jobless, broke, uncertain, pressed down on her. She curled up on her worn couch, tears streaming down her face as she cried herself to sleep, haunted by the thought of an uncertain future. The next morning, Lorraine was jolted awake by the sharp chime of her doorbell. Groggy and disoriented, she threw on a sweater and stumbled to the door, her heart racing with a mix of curiosity and dread. She opened it to find a man in a crisp black suit standing on her doorstep, a sleek limousine idling behind him on the street. Good morning, ma'am, the man said with a polite nod. My name is Stuart, and I'll be your valet for the day. My employer is eager to meet you. Lorraine's brows furrowed as she took in the scene, the polished limo, Stuart's impeccable attire, the absurdity of it all. I'm sorry, I think you've got the wrong address, she said, her voice hoarse from sleep. You are Lorraine Simpson, correct? Stuart asked, unfazed. Well, yes, but then I'm at the right place. Please, come with me. Lorraine's mind raced. She didn't know anyone who owned a limo, let alone someone who would send one to her doorstep. Her first instinct was caution. She typed 911 into her phone, keeping her thumb poised over the call button. But curiosity got the better of her. She quickly changed into a simple blouse and jeans, grabbed her purse, and followed Stuart to the car, her heart pounding. The limousine glided through the city, its leather interior smelling faintly of polish and wealth. Lorraine sat stiffly, clutching her phone, as the car pulled up to the gleaming facade of the Pinnacle Medical Clinic, one of the most prestigious healthcare facilities in New York. She'd heard of it, everyone had, but she'd never set foot inside. The building's glass exterior sparkled in the morning sun, and its reputation for cutting-edge care was legendary. Stuart opened the door for her, and as Lorraine stepped out, she froze. Standing before her was Jeffrey, not the disheveled man from the cafe, but a polished figure in a tailored suit, his hair neatly combed, his beard trimmed. He looked like a different person, yet his warm brown eyes were unmistakable. Jeffrey, Lorraine said, her voice barely above a whisper. He smiled, a mix of amusement and sincerity. Good morning, Lorraine. I owe you an explanation. Over coffee in the clinic's sleek conference room, Jeffrey revealed the truth. He was Dr. Jeffrey Langston, a renowned psychologist conducting a sociological experiment for his latest research project. To understand how people interact with those they perceive as less fortunate, he had disguised himself as a homeless man. When I met you, he said, his voice earnest, I saw something special. You didn't just give me your coffee, you treated me like a human being. You listened, you cared, and you showed kindness when you had every reason to be consumed by your own troubles. Lorraine's cheeks flushed. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Jeffrey replied. I've been looking for someone like you to join my team here at Pinnacle. Your compassion, your fire, that's what we need. I'd like to offer you a position as a lead nurse. The pay is generous, and you'll be working with people who value your contributions. Lorraine's eyes widened, her breath catching in her throat. You're serious? Absolutely, Jeffrey said, sliding a contract across the table. You deserve this, Lorraine. Kindness doesn't go unnoticed. Tears welled in her eyes as she read the offer, more than double her previous salary, with benefits she'd never dreamed of. She thought of the cold coffee, the tuna sandwich, the walk home holding Jeffrey's hand. A single act of kindness had changed everything. As she signed the contract, Lorraine felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The world, it seemed, had a way of rewarding those who gave without expecting anything in return. And as she looked at Jeffrey, Drive, Langston, she knew this was only the beginning.